ওকে, আমি চেক করতেছি। আচ্ছা, বাকি টিম মেম্বার একটু লাইভটা চেক করবেন প্রপারলি শোনা যাচ্ছে কিনা। এভরিওয়ান। ওকে, আমি চেক করতেছি। গালিব কিছু বলেন। আচ্ছা, বাকি টিম মেম্বার একটু লাইভটা চেক করবেন প্রপারলি শোনা যাচ্ছে কিনা। এভরিওয়ান। ওকে, আমি চেক করতেছি। গালিব আপনি কিছু বলেন। গালিব কিছু বলেন। আচ্ছা, বাকি টিম মেম্বার একটু লাইভটা চেক করবেন প্রপারলি শোনা যাচ্ছে কিনা। এভরিওয়ান। ওকে, আমি চেক করতেছি। ওকে, লাইভ অল ডান। এখন আমরা প্রফেশনালি শুরু করতে পারি। গালিব স্টার্ট।
Hello, assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Jawhar Galib Milkan, your host for this webinar. And a very good evening to everyone joining us from around the globe. Welcome to this exciting and insightful webinar hosted by TechSecure 2.0 in collaboration with our international guest and passionate cybersecurity community. I am the Jawhar Galib Milkan, Business Development Lead at TechSecure 2.0 and your host for tonight's session. It's truly an honor to have you all with us. Today's session is all about building a better understanding of cybersecurity as a career path. From real world practice to global opportunities, whether you are a student, a beginner, or already explored the world of ethical hacking, you all walk away with something valuable tonight. Before we dive in, allow me to give you a quick overview of who we are. TechSecure 2.0 is a next generation cybersecurity and tech solutions company based on Bangladesh, working on a global scale. We specialized VAPT, red teaming and blue teaming, cloud security and digital forensics, secure web development, social media marketing, and business development. Our team includes over 100 cybersecurity professionals globally, and we have completed 300 plus projects successfully opening, including identifying critical vulnerabilities and enterprise systems. About our vision and leadership, we are led by our visionary founder, CEO, Ms. Sumaiya Tabassum Chowdhury, and the internationally recognized by cybersecurity expert and great team strategist. So, we are introducing our speaker, Mr. Olayinka. Olaoluwa. So, firstly, let's explore our Bangladesh. video for this. We are now announcing the About Tech Secure 2.0, a next generation cybersecurity and IT solutions company based in Bangladesh with the global reach. Core service was red and blue teaming operation, EAPT, secure web development, and cybersecurity training and consulting. So, firstly, I am the host. I already introduced myself. Meet our founder and CEO, Sumaiya Tabassum Chowdhury. Introducing SM Razoan, the co-founder of TechSecure 2.0. After that, introducing our graphics designer from TechSecure 2.0, Tuli Jahan. After that, introducing Samia from social media manager, TechSecure 2.0. Introducing ABM Mojahid, cybersecurity expert at TechSecure 2.0. After that, introducing MD Naim Ahammed, digital marketing executive and TechSecure 2.0. So after that, I am announcing my guest to take the floor and brief the profile of the speaker. Thank you. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, sir, we are hearing you.
Okay, so my name is Olaoluwa. I um, I'm, I'm a cybersecurity analyst with a sharp eye for vulnerability. So I check vulnerabilities in systems, experience in networking. I had my CCNA. I did my CCNA also. So I'm currently working at Bath Computers Technologies in Lagos, Nigeria. I was a former network engineer in Out of Africa, and I led a TMAX team under the former president on cyber security training. So I teach people cyber security on Google platform. So I use a Google Classroom to teach people cyber security. We teach on the labs, we do the labs also. So it's an honor to be here. Can I have the next slide, please? Please, can you go to the next slide? Okay. So I'll be taking us through this cybersecurity training. It's going to be an insightful experience. So next slide, please. So the primary goal of this training is to equip participants with the necessary skills that we need to defend against cyber threats effectively, because we encounter it every single day. So next slide, please. So we are going to be looking at the need for cybersecurity, the importance of it in today's digital world, cybersecurity threats, the protection strategies, and the digital safety, because we need to stay safe. And we're going to be understanding the threat, we're going to be defining it, we're going to look at the impact and some key statistics. Next slide, please. So we know that when we talk about cybersecurity threats, we are talking about the acts of criminals, malicious people. What are they aiming to do? They are aiming to steal our data, to disrupt our systems, and to cause harm through unauthorized access. So next slide, please. But we have to understand what cybersecurity is, firstly. So when we say cybersecurity, we are not just talking about protecting computers, even though that is what we primarily do, but we're talking about protecting ourselves and others from attacks. But those attacks are done primarily using computers. So cybersecurity would mean we are protecting computer systems, networks, and data from unauthorized access, attacks, damage, or even theft. Now, so we see with the increasing reliance on digital technologies, we can see that cybersecurity has become a critical concern for, for us as individuals, for our businesses, and for governments, and even organizations worldwide. So it's our primary goal to ensure the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability of information and systems. So we are not just protecting people, we are protecting our information also, which is very important. Let's next slide, please. So why do we talk about cybersecurity threats? We talk about cybersecurity threats because the impact of it is that it will lead to financial losses. It's going to lead to data breaches. So our data is supposed to be confidential alone, but it's going to lead to data breaches if these threats pull through. It's going to lead to reputational damage, and it's going to lead to operational disruption. So we are not going to be able to do our usual day-to-day activities. We are not going to be able to run our businesses the way we should. So that is why we talk about cybersecurity threats. Next slide, please. Okay, so just like we said earlier, we see that according to statistics, now these are key statistics I'm about to share with us, over 2.6 billion personal records was exposed globally in 2024, which is a worry, which is a cause for concern. And we see that an average cost of a data breach is about $4.45 million, according to International Business Machine (IBM) in 2024. So this is why we must put all hands on deck to make sure that we reduce it, even though we know we cannot completely mitigate data breaches, because there will always we cannot have a perfect system as it were, but we can reduce it to the barest minimum. Next slide, please. So we can see some types, common types now. These are not all there is to it, but these are common types of cyber threats that we see in our everyday lives. The first one will be phishing. We see malware. We are going to be looking at each of them. We see malware. Malware will mean a destructive software. We are going to be saying that. We see DDoS attacks, which is distributed denial of insider threats. We see advanced persistent threats. Now, for each of these, um, it is important. Sorry, can you still hear me? Please confirm you can still hear me, please. And if I'm too fast, you can let me know, please. Thank you.
Yes, your voice is clear.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so these are the common types. So let's just go to the next slide. I'll be explaining them in detail. The slides to come. Yeah. So now you see overview of network security. Now we cannot talk about our systems without knowing about works that make up the system. So we are not just talking about a network of computers now. We are talking about a network of people. That's why social engineering is very vital also. So we cannot protect what we don't know. So for us to protect ourselves and others from cyber attacks, we must know what the internet is and how it works. That is why I take my time to teach people the basics of networking using packet tracer and other softwares, so people can understand how the network works. So I use Cisco Lab to teach my students so they can understand. Next slide, please. So let's take a closer look at phishing, for example. So how does phishing work? Now, um, attackers pose as legitimate entities, for example, banks. A popular bank in Bangladesh, an attacker can pose as a legitimate bank in Bangladesh or a legitimate company. Why? For what purpose? To steal credentials or to install malware. Now, as I said before, malware is a destructive software. Okay, they'll use systems to create fake login pages, mimicking trusted websites, so that unsuspecting victims can put in their details, and they harvest those credentials. Okay, so according to the statistics that you are seeing on the screen, 36% of data breaches involves phishing. That's how common it is. Okay, so people take the bait and then they harvest their credentials, which is why it's important for us to educate people about this cyber threat. Okay, that is the essence of this webinar. So, one way we can some tips that can help us in how to prevent this is to verify the sender email addresses, because if you look closely at the email addresses that sends these phishing emails, you would be able to detect that this is false, this is fake. So these are part of what should be taught. Okay, how to identify the fake and the real. So you are supposed to avoid clicking on solicited links. So you're not just supposed to click any link that is sent through a phishing email, because through any, in fact, before you click any link at all, make sure you double check to be sure that that link is safe before you click it. So you don't end up clicking a phishing link. So you can also use the multi-factor authentication, which means that beyond a single factor, you go beyond just using just the password alone. You go beyond that using to a face detection, and even deeper, you can use the biometrics, and you can use a security question also, just so that you can have multiple layers of defense. Okay, so next slide, please. So these are some of the protection strategies we can apply. So we can have for network security, we have firewalls. Because of time, we're not going to go deeper into this. We have IDS and the IPS, the intrusion detection and the intrusion prevention. We also have VPNs, virtual private networks, okay, which helps with tunneling, so that the attackers are not able to eavesdrop on the traffic that we send to ourselves, and to our colleagues across board. So we have endpoint protection. When we talk about endpoints, we're talking about the devices we use to communicate with each other over the internet. So we have the antivirus software, okay, which protects our devices, endpoint detection and response also. So we have, for the data encryption, we have we can secure our data in transit and at rest. Okay, so these are the things that we teach. So access control also, we have role-based access. So for the role role-based access now, not just anyone can access a material. That according to your role, you are given a privilege access that is restricted to that role alone, which is very important. So as an accountant, I cannot go to the office of the MD. I cannot access what the MD can access. Why? Because our roles are different. So we also have the multi-factor authentication, which is the MFA, and the zero trust architecture. I'll be talking more about the zero trust architecture in the coming slides. And the next one I'm about to mention is very important also, the regular updates. We must make sure that we patch software vulnerabilities. For example, when we use softwares like Nexus to show us or OpenVAS to show us to show us the places in our system that are vulnerable, we need to patch them promptly. We need to do that promptly. Um, there's also incident response. We create and we test a response plan for breaches, because whether we like it or not, there is no system that is 100% secure. So, but when an incident occurs, it is important that it is reported promptly so that action can be taken immediately. So we create and test a response plan for breaches. That is the essence of penetration testing. Okay, so we must know how to report these breaches very, very promptly. Next slide, please. So for the zero trust architecture I mentioned earlier, it is based on the concept of you should never trust, but you should always verify. Never trust, always verify. Every user and every device must be authenticated. By being authenticated, we mean that every device and every user, you must be able to prove that, okay, this is who the person says he is. Okay, so that you don't admit a wrong person or an attacker in disguise. And sorry about that. The key principles to this architecture is continuous verification. So it's not enough to verify once. That is why the layered defense is very important. So once you verify someone, that's why multi-factor also is important. So once you use different levels of authentication, you are sure that yes, this is the user that needs to be admitted so that you can have access to that resource. Don't forget, everything we do is based on the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So we also have the least privileged access. We are, assume breach mentality. So you must always be on the offensive in zero trust architecture. So for what are the benefits of this architecture? It reduces our attack surface. So we don't have to deal with too many attacks. Once we are able to imbibe this concept that we never trust, we always verify. So it doesn't even matter if the person has been verified before. Once the person is trying to gain access into that resource or that system, the person must be verified again. So, and one of the benefits is we mitigate insider threats. Okay, we mitigate insider threats, which is what I said earlier. In case somebody from within the company or within an organization wants to attack, it will be difficult because that person will need to be verified again. Okay, so that's one of the benefits. An example of this is the Google's Beyond Cup model. You can look up on that. So let's go to the next slide, please. So I'll just be giving us like digital safety best practices. Once we are able to imbibe these practices, we are going to see that our attack surface will be reduced greatly and we are going to have less. Now, it's not possible for us to have, when it comes to cyber security, it's a matter of when will the attack happen. So it's not a matter, there's no time we get to where we say there will be no attack. No, that will be false. But we can get to a point where we say, okay, our attack have been reduced to a very great extent. Okay. So one of the practices we should imbibe is using strong, unique passwords. Okay. Strong, unique password. How will you know your password is strong? It will be a 12 plus character. Okay, and it will be mixed type alphanumerics. When we talk about alphanumerics, we're talking about capital letter, small letter, numbers, symbols. We mix them all together, and those are the kind of passwords that we should have. Passwords that they are even difficult for us to remember. So we put them in a place like we can use what we call the password manager, okay, where we can put them. In fact, it is better for you not to remember it. Make it very difficult. Even the last pass always says that they don't remember the passwords. Okay, so it's better to what's it called now, to reset your password regularly. So attackers, it will be difficult for them to use a brute force attack on your password. So we enable MFA, which is multi-factor on all accounts, just like we said before. So we must be cautious with public Wi-Fi's. Why? Why? Because public Wi-Fi's are porous. They are open, So we must make sure that the Wi-Fi's we use, we don't use public Wi-Fi's. We use virtual private networks. So we must use the latest so that we can have the latest upgrade in terms of security now. So we must regularly back up our data offline. Very important. We must regularly do this. Back up our data offline. So, and that is why that is the part of availability. So, in case our system goes off, and we cannot access our critical resources, we always have a backup. It is important to have a backup, and we should avoid sharing personal info on social media. So, I use myself as an example. I rarely share. You rarely see things on me about social media. You know why? So that people cannot track your digital footprint. Please, it is important that you don't share your personal info in the social media space because your digital footprints can be tracked. And by the time the attackers are able to gather your details together, they can form a formidable attack. So we must, the next one is for us to educate ourselves, which is what we are doing now, and which is what we will continue to educate ourselves on phishing red flags. Okay? So, and we must monitor our accounts for suspicious activity. Monitoring is very important, very, very important. So we monitor our accounts for suspicious activity and we use reputable security software. Okay, so next slide, please. So having said all that, we can see that because in the field of cybersecurity, nothing stays static. Things are dynamic and things are changing every day. So part of the emerging trends we have in cybersecurity will be there are quite a number of them, but I just put out a few here. So we have the AI power threats. Now we know AI is already a thing now. We know that the US, for example, is pumping billions, into AI, and we have AI power threats. So AI generated phishing emails and deep fake scams. Okay, so it's easier now for attackers to to send attacks using AI, because AI does a lot of automation in that sense, so they can do their work faster. So we also have AI in defense. So machine learning for threat detection and response. Okay, so we have quantum computing, which is the potential to break current encryption. We have post quantum cryptography in development. We have cloud security. Um, And we have IoT. IoT is Internet of Things vulnerability. So we are securing connected devices. In one of my labs, I talked about this IoT. Secure, because IoT is very, very porous. Because security is very porous because of the interconnectivity. So we are securing connected devices, smart home systems, for example. So next slide, please. So we are going to look at a case study now in 2024, which is last year now. So we see that is a major data breach that happened here. There was the incident was that a large retailer suffered a ransomware attack. So a ransomware attack is an attack where the attacker, encrypts the files and threatens to destroy them or not to release them until the required sum of money is paid. Okay, and the worst part of it is, even after the money is paid, some might request the payment in Bitcoin or some other way in cryptocurrency. So but the disturbing part of it is, even after their demands are met, they still go ahead and not release the data, or better still, they still go ahead and destroy the data. So what was the cause of this major data breach? We see that there was an software vulnerability and a weak multi-factor authentication. So you can see what we've been saying all along. So it is important for us to have a past software, need to patch it promptly, not just patching it now. And we must have strong MFA. So what happened here was that post, they were exposed due to this ransomware attack. What was the impact? There was a loss of 200 million in recovery costs, lawsuits, and lost revenue. So you can see that there is a cost as a result of data breach. So what are the lessons here? What are the lessons we learned from this case study now? We see that it is important for us to date timely. There is a need for robust backup systems and the value of employee training. Now, this training cannot be overemphasized, especially when we talk about social engineering. We must continue to train and retrain so that our employees are constantly reminded, of these points. Okay, next slide, please. So we just want to look at some careers in cybersecurity. We have quite a number, but I just listed some out for us, so that we can have an idea in case we want to venture into the realm of cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is very vast. So you must be able to carve your niche and stay there. Even though, of course, you have to know a bit of other things also. So, but it's important to know where you stand, your domain. So we have cybersecurity analyst, or call it cybersecurity engineer. I'll be talking briefly on each of them. Next slide, please. For the first one, the work of the cybersecurity analyst is to monitor, to detect. So we've been talking about some cyber threats before now. So the analyst assesses the vulnerabilities. Now it's important for us to know that not every vulnerability, we have the low, we have the medium, and we have the high. There are some that we need to attend to before others. So the analyst will assess each vulnerability why the engineers will build and maintain secure systems to prevent breaches. We also have the penetration test ethical hacker. Okay, so what the penetration tester does is simulate cyber attacks to find and to fix security weaknesses. So before malicious hackers exploit them. So it uses tools and techniques to test network, web, and application security. For example, when we use port trigger we can train our students with port trigger so that they know how to, they have an idea of how this works. So we also have the security consultant. Security consultant advises organizations on best practices. On the risk management, I was privileged to go to CyberGon in Abuja to learn about, just to see how data can be encrypted. Okay, and we use all other Cisco materials to see how data can be encrypted. All right, and we also see the decryption also. All right, so we ensure secure communication and data integrity. Yes, data integrity is very important. Okay, so we are sure that the data is not tampered with. Okay, cryptographer often works on blockchain messaging systems or secure transaction. Okay, so like we see in our WhatsApp messaging app, for example, we see that the messages are encrypted end to end. We see that there is an end to end encryption. Okay, so the cryptographer works at the back end, if you like. So we also look at network security engineer, which is one of the career. Okay, I've worked as a network engineer. Um, so what we do is we protect network infrastructure. Okay, I'm currently working in the network operations center in Lagos to protect network infrastructure by configuring firewalls, virtual private networks, and intrusion detection systems. So, to what purpose? So that we ensure a secure data flow across wired and wireless networks, because we have both wired and wireless networks, and it's security is important on both the wire and the wireless, especially for the wireless. Okay, and we talk about the access points also. We configure them and make sure they are securely accessed. All right. So we also have the security researcher. Now, as a good cyber security professional or an enthusiast, if you may, you should be you should also be a good researcher, because, for example, when we do things like OSINT, open source intelligence, you must be a good researcher because you need to research a lot and gather a lot of information that you can streamline on each of your targets. All right, so the researcher analyzes threats, malware, and vulnerabilities to improve the understanding of cyber risks, and often publishes findings, develops new tools, or contributes to open source defense efforts. So next slide, please. So we also have the forensic analyst. What does the forensic analyst do? So he investigates cyber crimes. So this person will most likely work with agencies like the CIA, the FBI, you know, for collecting, analyzing, and preserving digital evidence. Works closely with law enforcement and legal teams to trace attacks and to identify perpetrators. So we also have the identity and access management, which is also known as the IAM specialist. It manages user identities and access rights across systems. Okay, so ensures that only authorized individuals have the right level of access to data and resources. Okay, so we also have the incident responder. Um, the incident responder responds to and mitigates security breaches in real time. Now, in real time, so as it is happening, remember we said incidents must be responded to promptly. Okay, so you investigate what caused the incident, it contains the damage so it doesn't spread, and it implements recovery plans to restore normal operations. Because the goal of incidents and of responding to an incident is to make sure that there is what we call the business continuity. So we must make sure that um, business continues to operate as it was doing before. You Under this, we can also have the disaster recovery. Okay, how do we recover from an incident? Because incident will surely happen. So we contain the damage and we implement recovery plans to restore normal operations. Next slide, please. So securing systems and data. We talked about endpoints. We've talked about this. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We talked about this. So, having said all this, it is essential to acknowledge that the responsibilities that come with cybersecurity knowledge and to use these skills ethically, we must acknowledge this responsibility that come with the knowledge. For example, when we teach our students how to act, so we are teaching them how to act ethically, not to use it for malicious means. Okay, so we are teaching them to think like the attacker, but not to be the attacker. You know, so it's essential to acknowledge there's a responsibility that comes with the knowledge of cybersecurity that we have and that we get every single day, and we have to use these skills ethically and responsibly. Okay, so next slide, please. So as we can see, I'll be concluding now. So the cybersecurity threats are evolving rapidly. So by the time we wake up tomorrow again, we'll see that we'll see that every day of our lives actually we see that cyber threats are evolving, and it requires proactive measures. So we cannot be reactive as cybersecurity professionals or enthusiasts. We cannot be reactive. We must be proactive. So we must always be on our toes. Okay. So protection strategies like zero trust, encryption, and MFA, which is multi-factor authentication, are very critical. So our digital safety starts with individual awareness and best practices. So it starts with us. Once we are safe, then we can tell others about how to be safe, and teach them what we do so that they can also be safe online. So our call to action will be for each and every one of us to review our organization's security policies and our personal digital habits today. So before I hand it over to the host, I would like to just say the name of my company. The name of my company is Living Springs Academy. So I these are the things I teach there, right? So just like I'm telling you now, that is what I tell them every time, that we are to review our organization security policies and our personal digital habits every single day. So thank you for listening. I think the next slide should be for questions. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay, these are my certificates. This is my ISC Square certificate, certified in cybersecurity. The next one, please. This is also my virtual internship I had with a team of cybersecurity professionals, and in conjunction with Illinois Tech. It was an awesome time working with cybersecurity professionals across different countries. We learned a lot during the 4 week. I was able to contribute as I should, and we were able to educate as we should also, and we had deliverables. And it's always a pleasure, to share what we learned. I still have the deliverables with me. It will always be a pleasure to share it anytime I'm called upon. Next slide, please. So we welcome any questions you may have about the training. Um, yes, we welcome any questions. My apologies if you couldn't hear me clearly, but if you have any question, I'll be right here to answer, and I'm sure my host and his team will also be happy to answer if they can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your insightful information sharing with us. Before we head into our interactive question and session, I would like to take a moment to invite someone truly special, the visionary behind the Tech Sector 2.0. He is not only a globally recognized ethical hacker and cybersecurity leader, but also the driving force behind our mission to secure the digital world and empower the next generation of tech professionals. Please join me to welcoming our founder and CEO, Ms. Sumaiya Tabassum Chowdhury, to share a few words with us tonight. Ma'am, floor is yours. Ma'am, are you here?
Hear me clearly, everyone?
Yes, you are clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
Assalamualaikum everyone. Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Sumaiya Chowdhury Tabassum, the founder and CEO of TechSecure 2.0. TechSecure 2.0, we are dedicated to building a digital world by providing innovative cybersecurity solution and expert training. Our team work passionately to empower individuals and businesses stay secure online. Our honorable guest, thank you so much for joining our webinar and share your valuable opinion on the roadmap of cybersecurity. Thank you again. We also have some interesting questions that have come in from our audience. Can I?
Yes, you can. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Thank you. First question, as a cybersecurity expert, what advice would you give to the beginner who want to build a strong foundation in this domain?
Okay. As a beginner, you want to build a strong foundation in this domain. The first, the first thing would to, the first thing would be to learn about computer networks. So to that effect, I can drop a link. I have a link where I teach people the basics. So you must learn the basics. You must know how computer works. You must know how the network works, and so by the time you learn the basics, you would know the area you would like to fit in. Okay, I don't know if I'm clear enough. So as a beginner, you must learn the basics. You must learn about networking. You must learn about Windows. You must learn about operating systems. You must learn about how they work. You must know how they work from Active Directory, to every portion of the system. You must know how they work. Then you can choose the domain you would like to venture in. So to that effect, I think I don't know if I can I drop my can I drop the link to the classroom. So if anybody's interested, they can send me, or you can drop my number. If anybody's interested, they can just chat me up. Or yeah, I can do that. So I can put you through the basics. But as a beginner, that's what you need to know. You need to know the basics. Okay, so from the basics, you are exposed to different domains in cybersecurity, and then you can pick your niche. So by the time you know the basics, you will know the places that fit you the most. Okay, because you cannot do everything. So we have the non-technical aspect of cybersecurity. We have the technical aspect. But even if you are in the non-technical aspect, it is important that you know the technical aspect also. It's always good to have a knowledge of both of them so you can be a well-rounded professional. I don't know if that's clear.
Okay, thank you. My second question for you, what are some real world challenges you have faced in implementation cybersecurity solution and how did you overcome them?
Okay, major challenges. There are actually a lot of challenges. Actually, for example, um, when I come across a, I'm trying to solve a problem, I can't solve it by myself. So that's why we have groups. So cybersecurity is not done in isolation. We have groups, we have study groups, we have peer groups. You know, so there are a lot of groups. Yeah, you must be in a niche of groups. So I was the demo judge for tech for dev, you know, where different students come from countries in Africa. So I had to judge their projects rather. So the first thing is to solve a problem. You can't solve it by yourself. You need a group of like-minded people. So what you don't see, they see. So that is part of what I enjoyed in Accelerate. You know, at Accelerate, we had a group, we had different groups, and I could share my challenges with my peers, and they could share theirs with me, and we solve them together. I don't know if that helps.
Okay, can you share any example of emergency cybersecurity threat that business should have aware of in the coming years?
I didn't get that question. Please come again.
Can you share any example of emerging cybersecurity threat that business should aware of in the coming years?
any security trick that a business should have. Is that what you said?
Please tell me again.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Can you share any example of emerging cybersecurity threat that business should have aware in the coming years?
Okay, the businesses should be aware of, right?
Yes. Cybersecurity threat.
Oh, okay. I'm coming. I think I talked about some in the. Okay, so we should about we should have more cybersecurity threat with like we have phishing. Yeah, I talked about phishing earlier on. So it's part of the threats that emerging, and AI threats also. You know that businesses should be aware of. So those are parts of what I shared. I don't know if that helps.
Okay, my last question for you. How important is collaboration among cybersecurity professional and state help to for testing this collaboration?
I didn't get the last part. Is it helpful to what?
How important is collaboration among cybersecurity professional and what state help in fostering this collaboration?
Okay. Okay. So if I got you correctly, is what is the impact of collaboration in cybersecurity, and what can we do to foster the collaboration? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So the impact of collaboration is massive. Is very vital, very critical to propagation of cybersecurity gospel, because I cannot reach everybody. You cannot reach everybody. So for us to reach a wider coverage, we have to collaborate, because it's going to spread the news faster. For example, we talked about phishing education. For us to spread the gospel of not clicking unsolicited links, for us to spread the gospel of multi-factor authentication, for us to spread the gospel of cybersecurity awareness across board, for us to spread the gospel of people being aware of social engineering attacks, we have to do it, we have to collaborate. So in our different spaces, because I'm in Nigeria, you are in India, for example. So you cover India, I cover Nigeria. If another person is in Ghana, the person covers Ghana in their different corners and their different spaces. And before we know it, it will massive all over the world. So the way we can foster this collaboration is by doing more of this. For example, this webinar we are doing. Okay, so more people can watch, and more people can see what's going on, and then we can that will listen, because the media now is open to everybody. So more people can see this. So we need to do more of this awareness. Online, offline. Okay. We need to do more online, especially, so we can have a wider coverage. In fact, if possible, we can have a YouTube channel, where we can push. So we need to have more pages that pushes out these truths about security, so people can be aware, because there's so much ignorance. So these are the things we can do to foster this collaboration. For example, we talked about sharing personal info. Many people still don't know how dangerous it is to keep sharing their personal info. They don't know that attackers can use it. We need to do more of this kind of webinars. And we need to have more projects like Accelerate, for example, where different people across the world can come together, and have cybersecurity projects together. So we meet different people, across the world, and I think that should do. That's about it. Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much again. Galib, please continue.
You said what?
Thank you so much, our honorable guest, for your answer.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Our host, Mr. Galib, please continue.
Thank you, Miss, for your valuable question. Now I would like to give the floor to Miss Tuli Jahan for give us some question so that guest will replay the question. Please continue.
Thank you for the floor. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to everyone. I am Tuli Jahan, graphic designer at TechSecure 2.0. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to this special webinar. We are delighted to have an honorable guest with us today and we look forward to an engaging and insightful discussion, inshallah. Let's begin and one of our audience wants to know about um, what inspired you to pursue a career in cybersecurity and how did you get started? Can you please share about it?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Can you come again, please?
What inspired you to pursue a career in cybersecurity and how did you get started?
Okay, how did I get started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what inspired me was I I I like psychology. I'm a very social person, so I discovered that beyond computers, that people are the people, human beings are very important. Beyond computers, human beings are the ones that operate these computers. So it's not just enough for someone to have a technical skill. The people behind the computers are much powerful as a computer, if not much more powerful. So I discovered that if I could be able to talk to someone and get information out of that person, I'm as well able to access any system that person can access. Okay, so I found it interesting. So from social engineering, I started by doing projects for some UK students. Sorry, I said project. Yeah, project helping them with their project in UK. So I started from there, and I took some exams. So that's how I started. I took CCNA routing and switching. I took CCNA security, and I took certified in cybersecurity, ISC squared. I've taken quite some number of exams also. I took Microsoft, and I took the certificate and I started working in an IT company, Harriet of Africa in Yaba, Lagos, Nigeria. So that's how I started, and from there, I've been teaching others also, and I've been able to get some other places also where I teach, and I teach online and I teach in my company also. So that's how I started. I started by taking exams and my curiosity. Yes, I would say my curiosity is what got me started actually, because as a cybersecurity professional, you have to be curious. So my curiosity was what pushed me to want to learn more. And learning for me is engaging. So I learn every day. And that's what pushed me to write exams. So I find it easy to read and to write exams and to pass them easily. So that was what prompted. And I discovered that in cybersecurity, I'm going to be writing a lot of exams. So that was what I'm going to be writing a lot of exams. I'm going to be needing certifications, to prove my skill and all that. So that was what inspired me. So I hope that answers your question.
Great perspective. Thank you for sharing. Here's another question for you. What are some of the most common threats organizations face today, and defend against them?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you clearly. What are what?
What are some of the most common threats organizations face today, and how do you help defend against them?
Okay, how do I defend against them? Okay, so I talked about there's the malware. You know, we have the malware, the malicious softwares, viruses, worms, trojans, ransomware, and spyware. Okay, so the way we can defend against this is by patching our softwares, promptly, just like I said, and having antiviruses that are up to date. Some antiviruses are not up to date. So by having antiviruses that are up to date, we also have phishing attacks, for example. That's one of the threats you mentioned, phishing attacks. So those the fake emails and the messages that try to trick employees into revealing sensitive information. How do we stop this? Is by us not clicking on solicited links. So even if you receive an SMS, a message where there's a link, don't just click it. You have to verify the sender. Okay, and most of the times, the sender of these phishing emails, the they have bad English grammatical errors, right? They have grammatical errors in their composition. Okay, so once you are able to look carefully, you are able to read carefully, you can detect. So you verify the sender. Who is this sender? Because they usually pose as a legitimate person, but you can always detect. Okay, so it's very easy. For example, if a popular bank in Bangladesh, sends you an email, you can even call the bank. If the bank is the bank that you use, you can call the bank to verify. You must verify the sender so you don't have financial loss, and so you don't have malware installation, because once you click on some unsolicited links, you can install malware without even knowing. Okay, so those are some of the attacks, and there's also insider threats, like we mentioned. Insider threats could be as a result of some angry employees. Maybe they felt maybe some of them were sacked, and they felt they were sacked for unjust reasons. So those disgruntled employees can use the information they know about the company against the company. So in that case, it is important to do a continuous verification. Okay, so and use a multi-factor authentication, and you also make sure that you revoke the credentials of any employee that is no longer working in the company, so that they cannot have a loophole. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. These are just a few cyber threats. So you can see the rest in the slides. There are so much of them. So because of time, I'll just be saying those few. I hope that answers your question.
No, actually, I have no other question. That was a very valuable point that you have shared. Actually, thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tuli Jahan, for your insightful question. Now, I would like to give the floor to Samia Alo. Please give your question.
Thank you so much for giving me the floor. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Samia Alom, and I'm the social media manager for Tech Secure 2.0. My role is to build and manage our digital presence, ensuring that we connect, engage, and inform our growing community about the latest trends, tips, and our innovations in cybersecurity and technology. Thank you so much, our honorable guest, for attending today. So I have one question actually, and so my question is, how can a small business protect themselves with limited cybersecurity budgets? Hello, hello.
Sir, are you there?
Sorry, you said how can? Yeah, I'm
Okay,
with
okay,
you.
okay. I'm asking again. How can small business
Yeah.
protect themselves with limited cybersecurity budgets?
Okay. Um. First of all, they will need to. They can protect themselves with their limited budget, because I know that yes, I know cybersecurity is expensive, but they will need to tailor their solutions to address. They will need to seek funding, because their cybersecurity solutions are quite expensive. So they can address it with their low budget by picking on the high vulnerabilities. Just like I said, there are priorities in the vulnerabilities. So the ones that need immediate attention is the one they should focus on first. Okay, and they should seek funding from, if they discover that they cannot cover the cost for addressing that, they should seek funding from other bigger organizations, right? They could, because just like I said, collaboration, they would need to collaborate, but they should first pay attention to the high vulnerabilities, okay? For example, if the vulnerability of a system is at the severity of 9.0, and another vulnerability is at the severity of 6 or 7, they'll need to pay attention to the one that is 9. Okay, that one is red. That one is the one that will need more attention first. So they have to tailor. They have to do what we call homemade solutions, or tailor their solutions according to their budget. So they will need to focus those ones first. Focus on the ones with the high severity score first before they go for the other ones. I don't know if my answer is satisfactory.
Thank you so much. I got your point. Um, thank you once again. Talking to you was a great experience, and I learned a lot of things today. Thank you so much.
For giving your question. Now I would like to introducing
Thank you very much.
Mojahid for give you the question. Please, Mojahid.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Mojahidul Naim, a dedicated cybersecurity expert and working at Execute 2.4. Execute 2.4 is an next-generation cybersecurity company providing comprehensive security solution to protect the business from cyber threats. Okay, I have a question from the side of beginners. Why is networking important in cybersecurity, and why should we learn it? Okay. Why is networking important in cybersecurity, and why should we learn it?
Why is what? I didn't get what you said there. Why is what important?
Why is networking important in cybersecurity?
Oh, you said why is networking important? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, networking is important in cybersecurity because there's what we call a single point of failure. Okay, and there are times where a single point of failure can affect other components in a system. Now, a system they don't stand. For example, now I'm using my laptop and my phone, so that's a network in itself. So we have different devices, different gadgets. For example, the smart home systems, the different devices are talking to themselves constantly. Okay, so in our businesses, different devices are talking to themselves constantly, and the moment two devices begin to talk to each other, we must pay attention to integrity of data. Must pay attention to the account because it helps us to understand how those devices, we can understand how to protect the information that is being passed from one device to another. We talk about there's what we call tunneling, okay? Tunneling, where we protect the traffic. Now don't forget we can protect the traffic in rest, we can transit. You understand? For example, I'm talking to you now. There should be a kind of protection where nobody can eavesdrop. Because once attacker can eavesdrop, that's why we use what we call Wireshark, for example, among many other tools. So networking is important because it helps us to understand how these devices communicate with each other, okay, and what protocols they use to communicate with each other, okay, whether it's point to point, you know, there are different protocols that are being used, in networking. So we understand networking is important because it helps us to know, okay, these are the protocols being used, and it helps us to know which security tool or security solution will be appropriate for that instance. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question. Why is cybersecurity important for everyone, not just IT people?
You said why is cybersecurity what?
Why is cybersecurity important for everyone, not just IT people?
Oh, sorry. I only got why is cybersecurity important, but I didn't get the last part of what you said.
Why is cybersecurity important for everyone, not just IT people?
Oh man, I think you're gonna have to type the last part. I only got why is cybersecurity important.
Yes, please explain the answer. Please.
Oh, okay, okay,
Why is important cybersecurity everyone?
okay. Cybersecurity is important because we use gadgets now for practically everything, and the moment you begin to use a device, you are now in the cyberspace. And now the truth of the matter is we have moved beyond this. We are not just in cyber alone, so we are talking of information security. Okay, so we are talking of information security, and information is being passed from different devices, between different devices rather. Okay, so cybersecurity is important because we use devices to communicate with one another. We use devices to go about our daily businesses. Okay, so we must protect those devices. All right, we must protect those devices. We must understand how those devices work, so we can know how best to protect them and to protect the traffic that emanates from each devices, both the sender and the receiver. So cybersecurity is important because the cyberspace is very, very risky to the unsuspecting user. Okay, the cyberspace is full of a lot of terrible people. There's what we call the dark web now. Okay, the dark web that uses a different kind of router. Okay, so the dark web is where a lot of things are being done. And if a victim enters the dark web without knowing that it's the dark web, he can be, he can find himself in a very, very unpalatable place. So that is why cybersecurity is important, because it helps us to know. In fact, cybersecurity goes beyond just our devices. It helps us to know how, talking about social engineering now, it helps us to protect ourselves. It helps us to protect ourselves, because if an attacker does not know where I live, the attacker cannot physically harm me. So cybersecurity doesn't even just protect us on the online space. It protects us physically, okay? Because if I don't share my personal info, you cannot know personal things about me. And if you don't know personal things about me, I am secured physically, not just online alone. Okay? So cybersecurity even goes beyond the cyberspace. It goes beyond our, our very physical presence. I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abiyam Mojahid, for your nice question. Now I would like to give the floor to MD Naim Ahmed. Please take the floor.
Hello, sir. I am Naim Ahammed, Digital Marketing Executive at Executive Planner. I have a question for you. What are the most common security risks in websites uses for the marketing? Do you have any experience?
Sorry, you said what are the common risks in where?
Yes, sir. What are the most common security risks in website users for the marketing?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
The website use. All right. Um. So so we have what we call website users that are involved in a lot of marketing, are involved in marketing activities, whether through a business website or landing page, or you can have different campaigns. So some of the risks could be data privacy violations. Okay. So some people can collect user data without proper consent. Okay, talking about emails, the names, the browsing behavior. So why does it matter? Because it can lead to violation of laws like the general data protection, you know, general data protection and other data laws. For example, if you don't show a cookie consent banner right on your site, not showing a cookie consent banner or storing form submissions without privacy disclaimers, that can be an issue. Okay, that can be an issue. So it's important that when you're designing your site, it's important that you put these things into consideration. Okay. So and another issue that you can have is people can impersonate your brand. Through fake ads. There's a lot of ads. People can impersonate your brand through email campaigns or fake ads. And they can damage your reputation and trick your customers. So it's important. So for a fake email can use your brand to collect login or credit card details. So it's important that those are some of the things that can happen. You know, um, yeah, those are some of the things that can happen. There's also the third party tracking tool and scripts. There are quite a number of them. You know, so those are some of the things that could happen. I hope that answers your question. SQL
Yes,
SQL
sir.
injection also can happen. All right.
Yes.
So there's a lot of yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your valuable question and also answer. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are come to the end of this incredible session, I want to sincerely thank each one of you for your time, energy, and curiosity. Tonight, we didn't just explore the roadmap of cybersecurity. We built a bridges between learners, experts, and innovators from across the globe. A special thank to our keynote speaker for sharing such a valuable insights, and of course to our founder CEO Ms. Sumaiya Chowdhury Tabassum and co-founder Mr. SM Razoan for guiding our TechSecure 2.0 such a passion and purpose. At TechSecure 2.0, our mission to protect, empower, and grow business through cutting-edge cybersecurity and IT solutions. So we specialized for VAPT vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, red and blue teaming operation, web development with built-in security, digital forensics and incident of response, business development strategy and branding, social media marketing and paid ads management. We have worked with clients from various sectors, startups to enterprise that continue to grow a global security brand. Let's grow together. If you are a student looking to get involved, apply to our campus ambassador program. If you are a businessman in need of security or development, let us help you stay protected and skill smart. Follow us on platform of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and so on. At TechSecure 2.0, we don't wait for threats. We hunt them. We solve them. We secure your future. Thank you. Stay safe and see you in our next event. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.